with episode 89 of Souperstar Spotlight. I want to thank my great sponsors, the good homies. My boy Ian 30, who's always out here doing my intros, the outros, the hype packages, the Instagram clips, the Facebook reels, all that good stuff is all in the good works of my man Ian. Subscribe to his YouTube. Go follow him on all of his social medias. Give Ian some of the love. We also got the Skittle Squad. We are on the road to Yardcore 4, King of the Yard. Shout out Lil Skittle doing the damn thing in his Discord server every Wednesday. I got the flag right behind me, always representing. And speaking of, shout out the Bocce Boys, who also literally right next to that Skittle flag. I got that cool Bocce Boy shirt over at, or I'm sorry, not shirt, the Bocce Boy flag over at thebocceboy.com, where you can also get some cool shirts, stickers, patches. They got it all over there. And we also got the good homie Pookie Wrestlers outside the Canadian region. Shout out Pookie for making all these beautiful designs just like this one right here. Get yourself Pookie-fied today. And last but not least, the good homie B-Dub Photos. Shout out Becca Dub doing the damn thing. Get a cool photographer to do the cool photographer thing. And my guest for the evening, someone who I met one time in passing. It felt like in passing. We didn't get a damn picture, but it's okay because now we have this moment to truly, finally get to chat it up. I'm talking about pro wrestling's BFF, Nick MANIWA is here. Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Hello.
Oh, absolutely. But Nick, I have been waiting for this one for a minute. As a commentator myself, I love sitting down with fellow commentating partners and just great people to be around, honestly. Anytime I hear Nick MANIWA, it's nothing but good in the wrestling community.
Oh, that's great to hear. I always love, when people say that, I try to treat people the way they treat me and try to give nothing but positivity and love back. So hopefully that's what I get in return. So it feels really good to hear that. Thank you, Dewey.
Absolutely. And you also got some very great fan-submitted questions. I'm ready to dive deep into the question board if you are my friend. I always gotta kick it off with this one. What made you get into the wrestling business? And any memory of the first time you ever commentated?
What made me get into the wrestling business was I grew up a pro wrestling fan. My sister Patty, who went on to marry Ian Rotten, was a wrestling fan growing up, and she went to Memphis Wrestling and Louisville and Evansville and Nashville and kind of helped them out with concessions or merch or tickets or whatever. So she was kind of in the wrestling business. In the early 90s, she met Ian. They fell in love. They began a relationship. And then in 1996, Ian started IWA Mid-South here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, boy. Oh, and we got questions about that.
I bet. So even, in 96, I'm 8 years old. And, I would help set up chairs. I would, run stuff to the locker room. In the concession stand, I'm the one grabbing a bag of chips to give to, the concession stand lady or whatever. Just wanting to be around. And then to officially get into the business, besides just helping out at shows, the DJ during the IWA Mid-South Blue Barn era of Charlestown, Indiana, he got a new job and he couldn't really come to shows every Wednesday and Saturday. So for a little bit, he was like teaching me how to do stuff, and I sat up there and I rang the bell for the show. So I kind of learned how to do stuff, back in those days. Kids nowadays have it so easy. They just double click and, play a plethora of music. Back in those days, I had a 1 CD, little thing, and, I was switching out CDs and, all that fun stuff. So I think it was like December of 2001 was my first job officially in pro wrestling, where I was the sound guy for IWA Mid-South. And then my first commentary, I always say my regular commentary career started in June of 2013. I did some pop-ups in 2008. There's even old IWA clips where I'm 12 or 13, like jumping on commentary, just, being a stupid little kid. But my first real commentary gig was 2008. I was doing commentary, or I was doing sound for IWA Mid-South, and my good friend Jim Fannin uh, didn't have a partner next to the sound table on commentary, and he like motioned me over, so I went over there and started doing commentary. It's very awful, it's very screamy, it's very, I don't know what I'm doing. I remember calling a Necro Butcher Sami Callihan match, and this was in like 2008, right when Sami was like making that climb of being like the guy. And Necro's giving him like suplexes on the floor and a pile of chairs, and I'm just like screaming. And I got a note like months later from like Mike Burns, like, "Hey, don't scream so much on commentary," because I'm just losing my mind. But that was my first foray into officially doing commentary.
Oh my god, I love that. And you talked about IWA Mid-South, good old Ian Rotten. And we do have two fan-submitted IWA questions. Someone wants to know, what are some of your favorite IWA Mid-South matches that you've called behind the booth?
Man, I was lucky enough to call quite a few like King of the Death matches and TPI tournaments and even strong style tournaments and stuff like that. So, I've gotten to call so many real classics. Kind of like an underground, like great match is Larry D versus Jonathan Gresham from, I think it's TPI 2017. And
So good.
you would think, I think a lot of people, the way the brackets worked out, there was like definitely more matches and different matches that Gresham or Larry could have had. So, people were kind of like, why would you put, this heavyweight against this junior heavyweight, this bruiser against this technical wizard? And they stole the show. It was just fantastic. They're doing crazy stuff. I got to call Nick Gage versus Ricky Shane Page at Guardians of Hardcore, which, with all the politics with CZW and GCW, like nobody was going to put that match on except for IWA Mid-South because, we were kind of like Switzerland. We were the common, it's just Ian. It's fine. Like there's no BS. It's just Ian. So, so many matches like that where it's like, this match would happen nowhere else but IWA Mid-South. I'm trying to think of like so many, like, they all run together now. I don't have to have like the almanac in my head anymore. And everything runs together. I went from Colgate to Jammers to the Memphis Flea Market, back to the arena, to the arena, the Pride Bar, just any venue. I went to the Dysfunctions building in Wisconsin, Pika Lounge Car or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, we love La Pika. I've been there before. That's a beautiful building.
Right. Yeah, it's very tight knit. It looks bigger on screen, man.
It really does. And the best part, I don't know if you've ever been to the other half of La Pika, but
I walked through there. I didn't spend an extended period of time.
It did not feel real. Like, you just watch all these crazy death matches, and then you're leaving the venue, and you're going out the exit door, and then you're in this like divey, like super cheap Mexican bar.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is some video game shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's so crazy.
Like
some of the places wrestling takes you, like the horse barns that I've been in.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Atlantic City itself is a whole fucking experience. It's like a video game, unlocking all these crazy freaking locations.
Right.
But I also got this one here, Nick. What are some of your favorite IWA Mid-South memories?
I actually have a podcast called Mid-South Memories. Me and Mike Ruff have a rewatch podcast. We've kind of been slow on it lately, but we go back and whatever the month that we're in, we'll do a show from years past. So we've done, 97, 2001, 2014. But just, I think for me, I've told people lately, and I've made a post about it on social media, like I'm a real sicko. Like I have a sickness for this business. I love it. If I'm not doing something involved with wrestling, I'm listening to a wrestling podcast. I'm listening, to shoot interviews. I'm watching YouTube's, videos about it. My son's obsessed with it. I'm playing wrestlers with him, or just it's my whole life. It's my second love after my mother. I just love pro wrestling. So I think the thing I miss most about IWA Mid South was watching talent like Alice Crowley, come in and be, just a ball of clay, and seeing her be molded into the wrestler that she is today, from wrestling IWA Mid South every single week, and wrestling Aaron Williams and John Wayne Murdoch and all these veterans and people that can really make you a fantastic pro wrestler. That's something that I miss the most about IWA. You always hear all the BS and the money and all this stuff. When it was never about money for me. It was just got to I got to do I got to learn a lot of stuff. So whatever you want to say about Ian, and me and Ian are not on talking terms. I don't talk to him any longer, but I will never downplay all the knowledge and stuff that he taught me over the years. And that knowledge of IWA Mid South is why I'm able to do the stuff that I do today, in terms of freelance commentary. I used to help produce at Paradigm Pro Wrestling. I can just tell Brett, hey, I'm going to pull up, and I'll have a spot, or I'll have be able to call a few matches. And a lot of people are not GCW is not like every other indie show. You don't just say, hey, I'm pulling up and expect to get on. But through my knowledge and helping out, and just all the reps that I got in IWA Mid South, I'm able to just be like, hey, I'm gonna be there. Hey, I'm gonna jump in with John Wayne, and I'm gonna be there all weekend, or
Oh,
whatever. What's that?
I love it. And you were talking about, I was gonna say, I love it what you were
Yeah.
talking about. And I was gonna say we could do our little own version of the Mid South stories here. I quickly pulled up a show around this time from February 5th, 2021. Do you have any stories from IWA Mid South headed for a heartbreak?
That is that like Beef and Aaron Williams and
The main event is Aaron Williams and Gary J versus Jake Christ and Larry D.
okay. Man, for like I said, a lot of that stuff runs together now, because I don't have to remember exact storyline details for next week on commentary.
Oh
But
yeah.
there was a point there, especially running the arena. We knew, okay, we're going to be at the arena every Thursday at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a show that's going to go 2 or 3 or maybe 4 hours,
Oh god.
and then every now and then we'll have a Saturday show. But Ian was always at his best when he had a set building, a set roster, and he knew what he was doing, in terms of, okay, here's where we're going with this. We're doing this. We're going here, and we got to build up to this show. And there's so many unheralded and unknown, like, classic matches that happen in that arena when we were running weekly. And it's like, people like Logan James and Tyler Matrix and Kevin Giza, who aren't wrestling anymore, but man, they wrestled like it was WrestleMania every single time. I remember yelling at those kids like, yo, stop doing crazy stuff in front of 50 people, in front of 65 people. When the pandemic was going on and we could only have 25 paying customers, these guys were doing German suplexes into the guardrails and crazy stuff like that. Lucas Jacobs, who was in the Prince of the Death matches that Atticus won, but he was just a maniac and just doing anything crazy he can think of. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna end up crippled in front of 30 people here. And it's just, I would now with IWA probably never coming back. I would say never coming back. You could watch full year run of IWA on IWTV, and really watch. It's like episodic TV every single week. If we would have been on TV, people could follow just like they do with Raw and SmackDown. It's everything has a point, or if it doesn't, it's a banger of a match. So you don't care that there's no storyline attached to it. And, just some incredible wrestling that I got to see in a Jeffersonville arena.
I want to go visit the arena one
You
day.
got to the grindhouse every fourth
Literally.
Sunday of the month, man. We just had we were supposed to have it the fourth Sunday, and it's our big Rumble, which is it goes into our April show, just kind of like WWE does,
Oh yeah.
uh, and with the snowmageddon that happened, we had to cancel the show, and then we moved it to this past Sunday. And we had the Mortons booked, and we had Silas Mason, the NWA World Champion, booked, and we had Suicide from TNA booked, and
Oh my goodness.
and all this stuff, and then snow hit again, so so that they had to cancel, but we still ran the show, and we still had a packed house, and it's always a packed house when Grindhouse is running shows. Tony wrestled Jake Bravado, and Tony doesn't wrestle at Grindhouse too often, but when he came out, it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out. I mean, the fans were going nuts. You couldn't even hear each other on commentary. Fans are losing their mind. We had Spider Nate Webb there. His entrant into the Rumble, he used the whole song, as he does.
Of course.
It was
As
just
he
a
should.
super fun time.
I love it. That sounds like a fun time, honestly.
Yes,
What a grindhouse wrestling. I'm gonna have to. I've been seeing that name pop up, so I'll definitely have to take a deeper look into it, Nick.
absolutely,
Getting the hot dog radar going again. I love when my radar of wrestling starts going. But Nick, I still got a few questions here for you. Are there still any companies that you'd like to work for in the near future?
I mean, I'm realistic when it comes to my commentary goals. I know probably GCW is probably the peak for me, and I'm okay with that. I love GCW. I love anytime I'm able to, sit in a booth with Emma, or especially Dave Prazak, my mentor and, the greatest of all time, Veda. But, anything, like a Ring of Honor, or Deadlock Pro when it was a thing. I kept trying to get John Blood, like, hey, brother, but I work quite often, all around the Midwest, Lafayette, Indiana, Evansville, Indiana, Jeffersonville. Like I said, I work for Larry D's promotion in Kentucky, Generation Next Pro Wrestling. We're actually have a show this coming Friday. It's like their TPI tournament called the TGI, and Reed Bentley's in it, Aaron Williams is in it, Dalton McKenzie, Larry D, Jordan Cage, Jackie
Oh hell
Fad.
yeah!
It's going to be a real blast of a show. Look for that. I'm hearing rumors and stuff. Look for that maybe soon to be on YouTube. So,
Oh damn!
Generation Next Pro Wrestling. I get to work with a Kentucky legend, old school icon, Bobby Blade. And, I am the Gorilla Monsoon. He is the Bobby Heenan, and we just have a blast.
Oh hell
We'll be going back and forth, and then, laughing silently to each other just from all the BS that we're saying to each other. It's just a total blast. Yeah, I literally want to work for anyone that wants to book me. So if you want to book me, I'm at Nick MANIWA on everything. Hit me up, and maybe we can work something out.
Well, there you go. And we also got this one here, Nick. What is some of your advice for someone who wants to get into commentating?
See, people have asked me this question. And I kind of looked into it. When IWA Mid-South took a little sabbatical in the mid-2010s, and then Ian was trying to run shows with Marvelous Mitch Ryder as the American Wrestling Association, ARA. And I was actually a heel manager managing Reed Bentley and Big Sue Jackson.
Oh my!
So when IWA Mid-South came back in 2013, Ian was kind of trying to put me as Bentley's manager. And I pretty much told him, like, I'm much better as a goodwill ambassador and commentator than I am a heel manager. So I'd rather do that. And that's pretty much how I lucked into my spot at IWA Mid-South. What I would tell people is, like, if you go to a local promotion and they don't have, commentary, or they don't film, or, make yourself useful in in that way. And, hey, I can provide this for you. I can do this for you. And, especially in indie wrestling, it's definitely easier to, get a foot in the door than it would, a major promotion. Uh, just watch, whoever you, like watching or like listening to. Like for me, my top are like Lance Russell and Dave Prazak and Bobby Heenan, and you just take a little bit from each one and, find your own voice and, try your best. And if you're not able to get work, I always tell people to find, no commentary videos on YouTube and do commentary over it, and then
Oh
upload it
yeah.
yourself, and shop that around to people and see if you can get on that way. But I mean, you can definitely find, Trippin' Balls, my good friend Trippin' Balls on Twitter. He was kind of, dabbling, and I was working for an unsanctioned pro in Columbus, Ohio, and unfortunately the schedules did not match up. So Derek was looking for someone else, and I was like, "Hey, Trippin' Balls is doing commentary, here and there in Kentucky." And he gave him a shot. He liked what he heard, and now that's his regular spot. So
Oh hell yeah.
all it takes is someone hearing you and thinking, hey, this guy's pretty good, or this girl's pretty good, or this person's pretty good. So go for it if you want to go for it. You definitely won't get a job if you're just sitting at home thinking, man, I want to be a commentator. I wish I could do that. Go after it. Get
You gotta
after it.
go out there. That's what I've been doing. I recently moved to Iowa. That's what I've been doing over here with the Wisconsin region mainly, because there's so many opportunities and
Right.
companies up there. So I've just been like, hey man, ring announcer commentator, have some fun with your show. Here I am.
Hell yeah. How far
Or
is
I'll
that?
just
How far is that from Iowa to Wisconsin?
2 hours.
Okay,
So it's not
so yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Not terrible at all. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
When I was living in Jersey, H2O was like an hour and a half. So I'm like, it's
Right,
just
about
an
yeah.
extra 30.
Right.
And maybe a gas trip on the way,
Yep.
either home or there. So
Yep.
I always got that planned. But actually, we'll talk about, speaking of being on the road, we'll get into, if you've seen the podcast, Nick, we talk a little wrestling, then we talk a little food or some
Yes.
outside of wrestling stuff. So I gotta know, Nick MANIWA, any favorite on the road snack and beverage combos? Your on the road necessities that you always got when you're traveling all up and down.
Yeah, I'm a big Coke Zero guy, so that's what I do in terms of beverages. Every now and then, I'll grab a vanilla Coke if I need a little sugar to get through a drive. I try to not sleep in the car. Uh, I've been traveling since I was like 13 years old. For all those IWA loops, and going to Rock Island, Illinois, and Muscatine, Iowa, and all these crazy places. And there's semis trying to run you off the road or
Oh,
whatever, and,
yeah.
and all this crazy stuff. So I just always, drivers get sleepy. So, you always try to just stay awake and, have some music going, or a podcast, or, just talking bullshit. Uh, Other snacks, me and Just Beasley's always likes to hit a Sheets if we can, get to one, like using a little kiosk and building your own sandwich,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. We'll hit a Wendy's for a biggie bag, or some the $5 meal deal at McDonald's if you need
Oh, yeah.
a quick little thing. I do post commentary for Wrestle Arts in Indianapolis, and when they run shows there, right next to Smash Burger Bar, and it is just fantastic. If you ever go there for Wrestle Arts or ICW No Holds Barred, ran a show there in November, and you can like go into the restaurant, order, and then come back into the show, and they will bring you the order. Like, that's how cool and close they are. They're a sponsor of the show. So I definitely highly like when I was doing the show in November, Jerry like sent an order over and was producing the show and eating, eating during the show. So, definitely check that out if you're in Indianapolis. What other
I
snack? What
love
other
that. I
snacks do we mess with? Just bees knees. My good friend Jim Fannin, back in the day, like 2001, 2002, his thing was cheddar Chex Mix, and then getting peanut M and M's and pouring it in, and eating it like a
So a
trail mix.
Chex trail mix,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He one time he was on. This is on his podcast, Fannin's Flashbacks on the BNMVS Podcast Network. Cheap plug.
I
Uh,
love it.
One time he was eating that mixture on a loop that he was on with Ian, and Jim Neidhart was in the hotel room and asked to try some. And then at like 3 o'clock in the morning, he called Bret Hart to tell him about the concoction. Like, hey, man, you got to try this. This shit's good.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. If you didn't know, Nick, the Hearts are, I love the Heart, anything Heart Foundation.
There you
Bret
go.
Hart is like my dude. I met him and cried. Like,
Oh, man, I would have too. Yeah.
he was so nice. But that actually now brings me to this question here, Nick Manawa. Who is on your indie pro wrestling Mount Rushmore?
Oh, man.
You've seen so many people.
Man.
And this is all time. So
yeah,
who's like the indie.
Like the first, like obviously I was around IWA Mid-South when I was, younger. And even the USWA when I was even younger than that. The first like real indie guy I saw was like Reckless Youth in like 96. And I just knew like, okay, he's the man. Like he's awesome. Like he's the guy. In terms of Mount Rushmore, definitely Chris Hero would be number one for me. I met Hero in 2000 when he debuted for IWA, and he's always treated me like gold. He's always treated me like, a little brother, I guess you would say. He's always, giving me advice and, yelled at me when I needed yelled at and, helped me out. And, just he's the best guy. So, definitely Hero would be on there. Man, Mount Rushmore. Man.
Do you say Eddie?
Not
gonna throw King on there? That's crazy.
I mean, I guess like Matt Tremont for the hardcore guy because he's the goat. He's the all timer. I could round it out with the rejects because they're like my best friends, but I don't know if that's allowed.
It is more
man, there's so many. You feel you feel like you're sliding someone if you don't mention them.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I can't think of any. Eddie Kingston's a.
There you go.
I first met him in 2003, and we've been friends ever since. Just another great dude. Man,
I'm trying to think. You said Matt Tremont, Chris Hero, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
Rejects.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. Oh, we'll just go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting here staring around. So we'll just go with that.
I would listen. That fourth one, when you do the rejects, it's half Murdoch, half
right. There
Reed.
you go.
So
there you go.
There you go. It would be perfect. And I also left out some of the food questions too. That I automatically brought it right back. But I also have this one, Nick Manawa. What is your perfect pizza?
Perfect pizza. I'm a big fan of green peppers and sausage. What down here in Kentucky we have Spinelli's, which is like a East Coast pizza place here in Kentucky. So it's like giant slices. Me and Jess Beesney's like a white slice from there, which is like ricotta, and it's very delicious.
I am all for the white slice.
Yeah, white slice with some hot sauce. Yeah, definitely a go-to there. I'm a light sauce kind of guy. I want to taste the toppings more than a gallon of sauce on there. So
especially if they have mid sauce,
right.
Some places don't have good sauce at all.
Yes, I agree.
But everything else is pretty good.
Right,
like the crust is crispy, the cheese is perfectly melted, but the sauce might be a little too watery.
Right.
And yeah, I'm with you on that one. If it's not good, less please.
Yes.
But we also got this one here, Nick. What is your favorite kind of sandwich?
Favorite kind of sandwich? it's not authentic by any means, but I make a white person Cuban sandwich. And it's pretty popular.
Oh, please.
It's pretty popular around the house. Like, we couldn't find Cuban bread, so we used ciabatta bread as like a replacement, and
Oh,
it does the
yeah.
job pretty well. I like a nice club sandwich. I like a BLT sandwich. Even just a egg sandwich. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I fuck with some sandwiches. I'm trying to think
Hell
of
yeah.
grilled chicken. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think of just random stuff.
I love it.
Chicken salad with the celery and the nuts and the grapes in it. That's a go to. You can smoke. It's 420 friendly. It
Oh
doesn't.
yeah, well, hold
That can be.
on. Bring Jess B's knees. I want to give her some flowers real quick.
He said, "Come over so he can give
No,
you some
thanks.
flowers." He's trying to put you over.
Oof.
No, thank you.
No problem.
All right, I will still put shout out Jess B's knees. Fantastic human being. There she is. Hello, Jess.
You're welcome. I'm dark
Oh my
too.
goodness. Hello, my two favorite people.
You
Shout
can see me. I just
can.
worked all
these
day.
two.
You can see.
Oh
it.
my goodness, yes, as one should. Me and Jess, the gym gang over here, getting
There.
strong every day.
I'm the
I'm
lighting guy.
flexing and you can't even see my arm.
I'm the lighting guy.
I love it. But yeah, oh
Guns.
yeah,
Guns.
let's go. I love it. I had to bring Jess in because she is just an amazing human being to the wrestling world, just like
I like
Nick.
this.
Yeah.
Say more nice things
Absolutely.
about me. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's why I got the cameo for a reason. You can get me to say some even greater things about you. Cheap plug. I learned it from the best. Yeah. But
Yeah,
Nick,
maybe you can come and be on the podcast.
Yes, Girl Fight is coming back. They used to be ran by Madman Pondo, where Billy started outside of her home promotion Grindhouse. Started at Girl Fight, and that is coming back next Sunday. And despite having been around the business for as long as I have before this one too, I make my commentary debut, and I can cuss.
Yeah, you can curse.
I'm super fucking excited because I've only done crew, driving, selling merch, concessions, what have you. So super cool.
oh my goodness,
What-
Jess.
What a
I am
big show.
big. I was about to say, I am big excited for you, my friend. That is huge, especially on a big
Yeah.
return show too. That is hype. I
Yeah,
wish
it's-
nothing but the best for you on that one.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Nick, we got 5 questions left. I am ready to continue. Shout out Jess Bees Knees for the cameo appearance. We love us some Bees Knees here, especially Nick. Yeah.
I have to.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, I gotta know. We'll keep the questions flowing. I gotta know any cool interests outside of pro wrestling.
I'm a big stand-up comedy fan. Me and Just Beast Knees are true crime fanatics. Doesn't matter what it is, especially if it's like a 2 or 3 episode thing. Like, we're fully locked in. We watched like a documentary about the Bunny Ranch that A&E put together just recently. We watched just the craziest stuff, whatever hot Netflix true crime or Hulu or Peacock or whatever, we will watch it and, binge it and finish it in, 2 days or whatever it is. I like horror movies. I'm not a super fanatic with horror movies. Jess Beesneys is a chicken shit and she will not watch them with me. So I have to pick and choose when I'm able to watch them, when the kids are asleep or, after they go to school and stuff like that. Like one time I was watching the Terrifier movies and Nick Jr. was, this was a few years ago. Nick Jr. was kind of freaking out. and then Chris Jericho popped up on the screen, and I said, "Look, man, this movie is fake. Chris Jericho, we know he's not a cop. He's a pro wrestler. So like, we know nobody's dying in this movie for real." And he kind of was like, "Oh yeah, you're
Oh
right.
my
That
god.
is Chris Jericho." So shout out to Art the Clown for helping, me tell my kid that horror movies are predetermined, I guess.
That is amazing. And also segues this question too, Nick. What's your favorite movie of all time?
The original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is my favorite movie of all time with Gene Wilder. I cannot tell you how
I
many
love
times
that answer.
I cannot tell you how many times I've watched that movie. It's a classic. Nothing can touch it. In terms of all the Willy Wonka movies, that's number one. The Timothy Chalamet one is number two, and then the Johnny Depp one is like
Yeah, that
101.
one's that.
I
Oh
saw that. I
yeah.
saw that in theaters with an ex of mine, and we were 2 out of 3 people in the theater like opening weekend to see that movie. So just
Oh my god.
just to show you how bad it is. So yeah, the original Willy Wonka is my go-to. Gene Wilder's the man. I think he was a genius, not only in that, but all of his career, the producers and stuff like that. Just I really enjoy Gene Wilder, but yeah, Willy Wonka, that's my number one.
I love it. And then we go from music to movies. Nick Maniwa, if you could book your dream concert lineup before bands or artists got access to anybody in
Oh
their
man,
prime or not, what
oh
would the
man.
lineup be?
Well, my one of my favorite albums of all time is Hello Goodbye's debut album, which is celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. They're actually doing like a reunion, not a reunion, but like an album, anniversary tour where they're playing the whole album.
Oh, yeah.
Zombies, aliens, vampires, dinosaurs. That's my favorite, probably my favorite album of all time. Gives me the dopamine that I need when I'm feeling low, and always puts me in a good mood. So, definitely Hello Goodbye would be on there. Me and Reed Bentley and me and Just Beesneys both saw Childish Gambino when he was an active performer. Me and Bentley saw him right before Camp dropped, so it was like right before he like really took off. And then me and B saw him after Camp dropped at the Egyptian Room in Indianapolis, where Taz beat Mike Awesome for the ECW title. So it was cool to watch him, do his thing and be like, "Hey, that's where Taz came in," and like went straight to the ring and beat Mike Awesome. And then Mike Awesome went out that front door that we just walked in. So I would definitely put Childish Gambino up there. Probably Biggie Smalls. If we can bring people back.
Oh, yeah.
Biggie Small. I was always a Biggie guy over a Tupac guy. So probably Biggie. I'm trying to think of. I like Kate Nash's debut album, Made of Bricks or Made in Bricks or something. She went on to like do Glow and stuff like that and put out music, but everyone's debut album is so different from like the later stuff that they do. I really like her on that first album. I'm a big fan of female artists. Who else would I put on my,
I was trying to think.
like Jay-Z or Eminem, or
I mean,
I'm trying to think of like people that I listen to all the time. I'm lame. I don't listen to anything like since like 2008, like new music. Like I don't know anything. You know what I mean? So like we just
though? It hasn't gotten better since then.
we just listen to like throwback stuff, in the car or whatever. I during my own free time, I listen to wrestling podcast or like paranormal, creepy ghost story podcast. Some of my favorites are like Radio Rental and Jim Harold's Campfire and Monsters Among Us. Just like weird, like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or Ghost or Glitch in the Matrix, just weird stuff like that. I tried to do my own podcast like that on my podcast network, MANIWA's Mausoleum of Mysteries. I put out an episode last Halloween. I'm trying to get some more free time and guests to be on that for some more creepy stories. So definitely check that out if you like the creepiness.
That's pretty cool. I did not know you actually had a podcast network, like a whole. You got how
Yeah,
many shows
dude.
are on there?
So me and Mike Ruff do Mid South Memories. Jim Fannin interviews old IWA Mid South guys for Fannin's flashbacks. He's had Pondo on there, Toby Klein, American Kickboxer, Tarek the Great. He did 2 episodes with me, Mitch Page. Just a lot of fun story. Tank was just recently on it, Nate Webb. So definitely a fun time, especially if you like old IWA, you like all the old stories. Definitely check out Fannin's Flashbacks. Me and Reed Bentley do the Reed Bentley and Nick Maniwa Variety Show, which is just a podcast of our conversations, essentially.
Yeah,
We haven't done one in a bit. The last one we did was like a Ask Us Anything. So we just took questions for like a
I
month or
love it.
two and answered everything. It's really good. Be an MVS podcast network on anywhere you find podcast. I do Wrestle Maniwa, which is like just me interviewing other people that are not Reed Bentley or Mike Ruff. So you can check that out as well. I've done a couple episodes of that. So yeah, the BNMVS Podcast Network, BNMVS, the letters Podcast Network, and you can find a bunch of stuff. Like me and Mike Ruff did the 2004 TPI tournament, which is one of the greatest shows of all time. And I'm giving stories about Chris Candido was in, and he made his big return to IWA during that weekend, and his return came during the Steve Stone Ian Rotten street fight, and Steve Stone like runs out a side door and Ian goes after him, and then Ian like falls back into the door, and then Chris Candido is there in full gear like beating him up. But because Chris Candido was such a wrestling fanatic, he was in the concession stand with like a hoodie and his face covered watching the show before he made his re-debut into
Oh, I
IWA.
love
So
it.
just stuff like that on the Mid-South Memories. If I have stories about I'll insert them. So if you want to hear IWA stuff, definitely check out any of those podcasts, because I'm sure there's something you will learn that you had not heard before.
Well, hell yeah. And Nick Maniwa, we got 2 questions left on the board. I gotta know, what has been the most gratifying moment of your career so far as a commentator?
Man, one of the most important things that I've done, I think, is getting to induct Mean and Hard in the Deathmatch Hall of Fame. I was sweating balls and reading off a paper and nervous, but guys like Mitch and Roland and the old IWA guys, don't really get their flowers. And unfortunately, Roland's no longer with us. He passed in 2008, so getting able to give something back and talk about his legacy and talk about his history, and be able to share that with me, Mitch Page, and Jim Fannin that weekend in Atlantic City. That was a great moment for me. I got to call a few matches at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Never thought I would get the chance to do that. That was incredible. I saw that they just announced the ECW Arena show. I'm going to try to make my way to that. I posted a little tweet, and Emil said to pull up. So, hopefully I can get, at least one called in the ECW Arena just to say
Oh,
I did it.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of, like I said, I love all this stuff. I got a sickness for this business, as my friend Brandon Taggart would say. I love like helping out, and, my friend Val Capone has a quote that says, "You never say no to making the show go," and that's what I truly believe. At IWA Mid South at the end there, not to put myself over, but I was doing commentary, I was ring announcing, I was bell ringing, I was timekeeping, I was doing the music, I was calling the times during the shows. I would, put the music playlist together. I would get the lineup at the front table and then go downstairs and write it on the board. I would go around and tell everyone the business that they're doing for the night. Like, I was pretty much doing everything. And, as stressful as it was, I love that. I love every aspect of the pro wrestling business. It's all I've ever wanted to do. And I'm lucky that I'm able to do it. So, if someone asks for help, like, hey, can we use your cameras to film the show? Or hey, can you help do this? Or hey, do you know an editor or anything? Like, I need a carload for this show. Who do you suggest? Like, I want to help out your show as much as possible.
Well, hell yeah. Nick Maniwa, we're down to the last question.
Last one.
The question, my friend, the reason we have this podcast,
Yes.
89 episodes deep, the wrestling community has to know pro wrestling's BFF, Nick Maniwa. What is your favorite kind of soup?
Favorite kind of soup? I am I would say I'm a chicken noodle soup kind of guy, but I just recently made wonton soup using the mini
Yum.
wontons, so that was a good one. If chili counts as a soup,
Absolutely.
I'm a big chili guy. What other soups do we f with? Just bee's knees. Broccoli cheddar soup.
Broccoli cheddar soup. Soup over rice.
Yeah, we like
Hell
to
yeah.
a soup over rice, just like a cheap, easy meal of
I
you
like
get
that.
you get a couple cans of chunky soup and cook it up, and then make some white rice, and it's filling. It does the heart good. It warms your soul and warms your inside. So
I love it.
we mess with
Soup
that.
over rice. I'm gonna definitely have to
Do
try
it.
that one.
Report back, and
I will.
especially for cold nights, man. I highly suggest it.
I'm taking note as we speak.
He's writing it
But
down.
Nick, yeah, hell yeah. But Nick Maniwa, this is the part we talk the soup. Now I put you on the spotlight. Plug your social medias. Ooh, where can a booker find you? Where can a promoter promote you? All that good stuff. Merch plugs.
Here we go.
Go for it.
I am at Nick Maniwa, NickManiwa on all social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Cash App, PayPal, all that fun stuff. My schedule is on my Facebook page. It's the pinned post, so you can go see where I'm going to be at in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months. I am going to be, like I mentioned earlier, at Gen Next Pro Wrestling's the Generational Invitational 2 this coming Friday in Cynthiana, Kentucky. It's about 90 minutes from, no, it's about 90 minutes from Louisville. Great little town, great little city hall gym with bleachers. It looks cool on film. Like Jess Beesney's mentioned, we will be at Girl Fight. She will be commentating. I will be on merch boy duty, security duty.
Oh, damn.
Whatever they need, I will be doing for Girl Fight. At Nick Maniwa Gmail if you want to contact me that way. I think that's about it. I'm at Nick Maniwa on everything.
Podcast. I like you plugged it all. Then Nick, anything you want to tell the fans before we sign it off?
Keep supporting indie wrestling. Don't just go to shows and sit on your hands. Let the people know that you entertain. They're putting their body on the line for you. So let them know that you appreciate it, you support it. Buy some merch. Throw them a little extra. Give them a tip. Whatever. Just support pro wrestling, because pro wrestling is in my opinion, the greatest art form that there is, the greatest live entertainment, the greatest show, the greatest performance you can find. You'll never find anything like it in the world of entertainment, or in the world period. So support pro wrestling, and don't be so negative. It costs nothing to be nice, so be nice.
Absolutely, you couldn't have said that any better. But for Pro Wrestling's BFF Nick Maniwa, I'm Dewey the Hot Dog. Deathmatch United, soups, death matches, and all good things in between. And I'll catch you on the next one.